Here with my man Hayden Breedlove. He just finished his combatives test, and it was pretty stellar. Amazing young man here. And so I thought it'd be cool because these are questions I want to know. I haven't had a chance to talk with Hayden much about his jiu-jitsu journey, but I think it's quite interesting. And I asked him if we could film it so that other people in the school could also learn about it and maybe see what we can take away for the future. So Hayden, tell us a little bit about your martial arts experience and background.
Cool. So me and my brother and my dad all started Tae Kwon Do when I was 5 or 6, something like that. And we actually got all the way to brown belt. Things were great. My dad dropped out, just life moves on. Me and my brother kept going. Eventually we both dropped out, and both of us came here and there back to it. He wound up coming back and staying for a longer time. Got his 4th degree, so he's a master in Tae Kwon Do. And it was a lot of fun. It was great. I loved being on the mat, all the people, everything about it. It was fantastic. So eventually I left there, just had to go to college, do things like that, move on a little bit more. And just Tae Kwon Do wasn't able to be in my life for that period of time. And so eventually, while my brother's still working there, he says, have you ever heard of jiu-jitsu? I'm like, well, sure, yeah.
And when was this?
This was 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
3 years, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's 2014. I tried to do the math real quick. It's probably about 3 years ago. And basically, he was interested in it, and he took to the internet, as most millennials do. And we found Gracie University, or he found Gracie University, and he comes to me and says, hey, I need a training partner. Are you interested? And I was really hesitant because things were going well. I'm a scheduled, organized person, so I didn't want anything to rock the boat, but I said, all right, I'll show up, 7 a.m., your place, let's go do it before I go to class at UNC Greensboro. And did the first lesson, trap and roll, and I was like, oh, okay. This is pretty cool. And then next one, we became more and more addicted. Started kind of going back and forth. He would watch a few lessons ahead of me so he could, rear naked choke me.
So he was kind of your teacher.
We were each other's teacher, which is kind of the way it should be, I think. And, we were just able to grow together. But eventually he moved here to Durham, and I stayed in Burlington. That's where we've lived since we were young. So it's about a 40-45 minute drive, so training with him was no longer an option. So did my best to just stay connected. Again, it was still a huge passion at that point, and so I roped one of my other friends into it to where it was almost becoming an unofficial Gracie Garage type thing. Never applied for that status, but he also was going to school at App State. So that was not very consistent training, but it was something to at least keep me going, fill that void.
How many times a week were you training?
With him in the summer, as much as possible. If we could do it 3 to 5 times a week, we were doing it.
And this is all Gracie Combatives?
Combatives only, yeah.
Following this curriculum?
Yeah. I mean, I, of course, was on YouTube, but there was nothing there was no sequential, this is where this fits in. It was just Combatives is where it's at for me right now.
Got it. So fast forward roughly literally about 8 months ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you called me up or if you just showed up. I can't remember.
I emailed. I was at work, and just daydreaming about getting back into jiu-jitsu, and I said I have to do something.
So we're not going to show this to any of your bosses.
That's okay. Wasn't too long of a Google to find. But yeah, I wound up going online, and I'd search periodically. I'd say I got to get back into it, and I'd look online. There was nothing for a while within those 1 or 2 years of my brother being in Durham. And I just had to keep checking, and eventually I saw a Hoist Gracie Network, and I had nothing wrong with it, but there was something that just drew me to the Gracie Academy, Gracie Combatives standard, the way that they've laid things out, the camaraderie I've always seen within that organization, the way that they all have the same goal and want to help each other reach that same goal, no matter belt level or rank. And that was what I wanted from my training experience, which is there was a Hoist Gracie affiliate 40 minutes away, Durham's 40 minutes away on the opposite direction. And so I just emailed Sonny and said, having a baby in about a month, so I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to come see, I want to get plugged in.
You actually came to visit me first with your wife. I remember that.
2
Just
weeks
to
or a month
visit.
before she was born.
Right, and you just wanted to see us. I remember that now.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious. I didn't have a lot of chance to talk to you about all this, and I'm just curious for myself. What were some of your expectations in coming in to train at a certified training center? Did you have some that you?
Yeah, so my expectation, first and foremost, because I wanted that environment, was that everyone would just be welcoming and, you know, make sure we're all on the same page and giving good feedback. My demeanor coming in was, yeah, I've gone through the combatives. Like I mentioned, I've filmed most of the videos, even though they weren't up to the standard I hold myself to now, that I've had Mr. Sonny point out some good tips. But I didn't want that to get in the way of, you know, me showing up and being almost a teacher to the students that you've had, because I don't think that's the right attitude. So I showed up, tried to be as open-minded and kind of reserved as possible so that I could take in the environment that you set, which turned out to be exactly what I wanted.
So you wanted a cooperative environment.
Yes.
And make sure that everyone was following the Gracie Academy standards, which
Right.
we try to do here.
No killer, be killed mentality.
No killer.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's cool. You had mentioned before you were you're a very systematized person. I kind of
Right.
figured this out along the way myself.
Yeah.
But then yesterday, we were getting ready for your test, and you showed me this thing on your phone.
Yeah.
Can we show it to
We can.
our
So,
people watching this?
yeah, we had a couple people belt testing about a month ago, and that was great. I'm going to help them get their test out of the way. Be a good bad guy, be a good helper. And then it was my turn. So about a month ago, after Thanksgiving, I decided I'm going to type out everything that I feel either deficient in or want to gain more confidence and just drill between now and my test date. So I came up with 18 techniques, and these are color-coded from least confident to most confident. Obviously, red is least, yellow is more, and green is
Systematized right here.
confident, but I want to drill it, make sure I've got it perfect, so when we do the test, it's instant rather than memorized. So what I did is I drilled those. I had some great training partners, and then Thursday,
Friday.
Was it
Oh,
Friday?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, Thursday, I typed
It
these
was
up.
down to that.
Down to that, all in green, and that's what I wanted to drill or keep in mind for the belt test.
And we even found a couple more to drill on Friday
Right,
when we practiced
couple
Friday.
more, yeah.
There's always something.
always.
What do you think about that?
Always back to
There's
the
always
basics.
something.
Basics are number one. In Tae Kwon Do, I would always want to practice basic kicks, roundhouse, side kick, front kick, things like that, because that's the basis for everything. So you would have to come back, I think, to these 36 techniques. That's why I don't want to stop coming to combatives on Thursday nights. I want to keep showing up, talking jiu-jitsu to everybody else so that I can get a better understanding of what's going on.
And helping other students.
Right.
There's something really cool about that, right?
Right.
It's kind of why I enjoy it is I enjoy seeing and helping others. There's a real pleasure and joy to be able to do that.
Right.
And so that's cool. So Master Cycle is in the cards for you now,
Right.
officially. And anything in the Master Cycle that you're particularly looking forward to?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it, man. There's, just looking ahead, everything looks like there's just this next level of understanding to what I already know. Keep going back to the basics, but these are going to firm up those basics and point out those loopholes and this and that and the other, and playing with everybody, trying to figure out what's going on I'm really looking forward to that.
If anybody happens to be watching this and they were kind of on the fence about trying jiu-jitsu, and let's say they're close, so they could train at any certified training center and get the same experience.
Right.
Let's say they're here in this Durham area. Would you have any advice for someone who's just not quite sure about trying this, starting their journey? Anything you would say to someone like that?
Just show up. I think before I act. And then there was just a point where I said, I've got to just go somewhere or I'm not going to have this as a part of my life from here on out. So that's when I emailed Sonny. I said, I need to go here. Can we set up a date because I want to go ahead and get things moving. So first of all, just show up. Find the training environment that you want. For me, it was Gracie Academy. Some people like sport, but I have that self-defense first mentality. So I say, go for it. With jiu-jitsu, I can't imagine why you would regret it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hey, you
Absolutely.
did great on your test.
Thank you.
And if you need help on your combatives, your training here, Hayden's a great person to ask the questions if there's no other certified instructors around and available for you. So thank you for watching this. See you on the mat.